Hey everybody, this is Rich from richonmoney.com, and today I'm here to talk to you about 9 secrets to find a good tenant. I'm going to talk about the 2 most important things, and these are the things that'll get you 90% there just by themselves. I'm going to talk about 6 things to avoid, and then I'm going to talk about credit checks, the most overrated thing that people talk about when it comes to tenant selection. Just to give you a preview, the 2 most important things are verify income and verify rental history. And a quick introduction of what the red flags are. They want to move in right away. They offer to pay several months up front. They insist on paying in cash. They ask you if you want to rent to own. You see scary things on their social media, and they won't let you run a credit check on their significant other. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and definitely leave me a comment. All right, everybody, number 1 is verify income. It is the most important thing in finding a tenant. Your income needs to be 3 times the rental price. That's a simple and very standard criteria for real estate. Now, what's important about verifying income? Number 1, you want documents. You want proof. And what you want to do is ask them for a pay stub, paycheck. On top of that, even checking account statements that show deposits of their paycheck into their account. You absolutely need this proof. This is the number 1 thing in finding a tenant. It's not credit checks. Can they pay the friggin' rent? That's all I care about. And the other thing you do is you talk to somebody. Give someone a call. Talk to somebody who works for them. And that person should be a supervisor. You want to talk to them and just ask a couple simple questions. You let them know that they applied to rent your property. You want to confirm that they've been working here. You want to confirm how long they've been working. You want to confirm that they're in good standing. You don't need too much more than that. Number 2 most important thing, verify rental history. Where did they live before? You're going to ask this on the application. And they're going to list out their previous addresses in the last couple of years and list out either a landlord or a property management company or someone you can talk to. This is the second most important thing you need to do, and it is a must. If you want a good tenant, you're going to find one where you can talk to a previous property manager or talk to a previous landlord, and hopefully more than one, that just confirms they paid on time. They're not currently in a lease, or they're not going to break their lease to come rent your place. They didn't cause problems. They don't owe a balance. These 2 things, verify income, verify rental history, that is 90% of what you need to find a great tenant. In fact, 95% of the people that contact you cannot pass these 2 things. But I am going to talk about 6 more things that are huge red flags. And when you hear these things, your spider sense needs to go way up because probably you've got a bad tenant coming your way. Number 1 on my list of 6, they want to move in right away. It's going to come up in the conversation. They're going to say, hey, how fast can I move in? Because I'd really like to move in tomorrow if possible. When you hear this, the alarms should go off. That is a bad thing. Why would somebody want to move in so fast? Typically, it's because they're being evicted or some other bizarre situation that you just want nothing to do with. Number 2 on our list, they offer to pay several months of rent up front. Oh wait, I can get 4 months of rent up front? Well, that really limits my risk. I would beg to differ. That probably will be the only payment you ever get from these people. And they could end up staying 6 months, a year. They might be professional tenants that know how to dodge eviction, and you do not want this person in your property. Why would somebody offer to pay several months ahead of time? Typically, it's because they know that they're very bad candidates, and they know from experience that they have a difficult time finding a landlord that will accept them. This often goes right along with needing to move in ASAP. And offering to pay several months up front is indicative of problems like evictions in the past, criminal record, bankruptcies. Doesn't have the income, doesn't have the rental history. You just don't want this. Forget it. Number 3, ooh, I hate this one. They insist on paying cash. I hate collecting cash. Cash is not king when it comes to dealing with tenants. While I'm not personally opposed to cash, there are 3 big problems with accepting cash from a tenant. Number 1, it's safety. When you're going around and all your tenants are paying you in cash and you're just making the rounds at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, chasing people down, you're carrying a bunch of cash, people catch on to that. you're making yourself a target for being attacked. Don't do it. Number 2, they're paying cash because they're hiding something. They don't file taxes, their money doesn't come from a typical job, but maybe some illegal venture. Something's up. I don't like it. And number 3, collecting your rent in cash is a huge waste of time. You have to find time every month to drive over there, pick up the money, and then when you show up, they're not there, they just left, or they don't have all the money, and it's a hassle. Number 4 on our list, they ask about rent to own. Now, what is rent to own? Rent to own is, in my opinion, a somewhat predatory practice. And usually what happens is you've got somebody who's not a great candidate for buying a house and not even a great candidate for renting a property. So they're willing to give a down payment and higher than average rents to a landlord that's willing to sell them the property. And while that might sound appealing to you, trust me, it's not. I think it's a bad idea. You can do your own research on it. The people that ask for this, they have something to hide. Probably evictions, lack of income, bankruptcy, criminal history, or a combination of all of those. It's going to be a problem. Don't do it. Number 5 is just social media presence. One of my favorite places to get listings from is Facebook Marketplace. It's number 2 only to Zillow for effectiveness, at least for me personally. Now, with Facebook Marketplace, every time somebody inquires about a property, you can actually go look at their Facebook profile. This can be very revealing. A lot of times you're going to see hateful posts, violence in posts, evidence of potential drug use, partying, or just stuff that doesn't feel right. Another thing that I've seen more than once is an email address that just makes you wonder, what the hell? The email address has something about guns or drugs or gang life or something that doesn't scream responsible tenant. Little legal disclaimer here, you can't use social media posts or an email address to deny somebody for a rental property. You need a more concrete reason to deny them. The important thing to do here is just to set straightforward criteria, and then if they don't live up to it, then you're able to deny them. I need 3 times the rent, I need to verify income, I need to verify previous landlords, and you have to pass my credit and background check. The last one, which is number 6 on my list, is they don't want you to run a credit check on somebody. Now let me explain how this works. I always ask the question, who else is going to live at the property with you? And they're going to say, just me and my boyfriend, just me and my girlfriend, me and a roommate, me and my mother, whatever the situation is. The next thing I say is, that's okay, but every adult living in the house has to fill out an application and do a credit check and a background check. That is usually where somebody will say, oh wait, no, my boyfriend's not going to live there. He's going to keep his own place and he's just going to come over once in a while. Or they might say, if that's the case, no, my girlfriend's not going to live there. Huge red flag. They don't want you to run a credit or background check on their significant other or friend or whatever. If you rent to them for any reason, they're going to let that person live there, and that is not a person you want living there. And finally, we get to credit checks. So what's the deal with credit checks? I thought credit checks were the most important thing, Rich on Money. Aren't they? Don't you just say credit score higher than 620 and call it a day? I've seen very few people that want to rent my properties that have a credit score over 620. If they have a credit score over 620, they're probably going to buy a property. I've found it much more useful to focus on number 1, can they pay the rent? Are you going to verify income? Number 2, have they been responsible in the past? Verify previous landlords / property owners. Those things are important to me. Why do I care about a credit score? There's only 3 things from a credit check that I care about. I care if there's open bankruptcies, I care if there's a criminal record, and I care if there's evictions. They're going to have crappy credit. You're going to see the typical stuff. They don't pay their medical bills, they don't pay their Verizon bill, they buy jewelry on credit and say, screw it, I'm not paying. These things are common for lots and lots of the renter population. But you just don't want those 3 things I talked about, and you want to verify that they can actually pay the rent. That's why I think credit checks are overrated. You still do them, but not for the reasons that most people think of. There you have it, folks. Rich from Rich on Money. If you found this useful at all, I want you to hit that subscribe button. I've got lots more cool videos coming out. Hit a thumbs up on this video. That'll make me so happy and it'll validate me. Leave a comment and let me know what you think the most important criteria is for finding a good tenant. Rich on Money, signing off.